Okay, so welcome. I'm Grace Marshall at grace-marshall.com, and I'm really delighted to be speaking with Lotwina Farodoye today. Lotwina is an award-winning businesswoman. She's a mum of 2 kids, and she's an author of a new book called Fruitful Business, How to Start a Business Now. So I'm really delighted to be speaking to her, and really looking forward to finding out a bit more about your journey, a bit more about your book, and kind of, sharing some advice and some tips with our readers as well. So welcome to the call, Lotwina.
Thank you, Grace. It's lovely that you've invited me to come onto this call. I'm really looking forward to it.
So tell me a little bit about how you got started. I mean, how did you get started in business?
Well, I had taken a business degree in marketing and food management and had been working on the corporate ladder for some years now, working for big companies, small companies, and really enjoying my journey. And I had hoped that the company that I had been working for, I would perhaps one day reach the board or something like that. But then I got made redundant in 2008.
Gosh.
And it was as the recession was deepening. And, I was beginning to think, well, what can I do? This has kind of scuppered my plans and my hopes. And as I began to reevaluate really my position and where I was, that was when I started to think of, well, perhaps I could start my own business within the food industry, because that was really where my passion lied, and I wanted to stay within that industry. So for me, the journey of starting my business came about as a result of actually being made redundant and then looking at my options and then thinking, actually, do you know what? I'm going to give this a go myself.
So originally you didn't really have any plans of going, oh yeah, I'd quite like to do that. It was really something that kind of hit you in the face, and you suddenly went, oh, actually, how do I make the most of this situation?
That's right. I mean, after the initial shock and upset and worry of, what am I going to do? It's when I really started to think positively that, look, hey, I've got skills that I've built up over the years, and I really love this industry. There is a way for me to kind of go forward and to still, achieve my ambition. If I can't get onto that board, I'm going to, create my own.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So, how did that journey then evolve for you?
Well, the way that I started my business was a common way that people do start their business is from having a problem and finding a solution. So for me, I knew I wanted to be in the food industry, so that was natural for me. But one problem I've always had, and I don't know if you or your viewers can identify with this, but every time I went into the shops, the supermarkets, and wanted a healthy snack when I was trying to be good, I couldn't actually find one. The checkouts were laden with chocolate bars, crisps, and things like that. And you just think, oh, I'm just trying to be good today. It's not that I don't like chocolate, I do, but occasionally you want a sweet treat, and you either have to go maybe for fruit, but if there's nowhere to wash that fruit, or you've got a bruised banana in your bag and stuff, I just thought, wouldn't it be great to have a healthy snack that you could eat on the go? And that was literally fruit that was maybe dried, that looked nice, and I thought it'd be great for kids' lunch boxes as well, because it's so hard to get kids sometimes to eat healthily. I thought this would be great as an on the go snack, but also for kids' lunch boxes.
Yeah, wow, okay. So you had this idea, you went about kind of testing it and bringing it to market. Tell us a little bit about kind of the successes you had with that.
Okay, well, once I had the idea, I decided that the best way to pursue this would be to use a manufacturer to manufacture the product on my behalf, because then that would create the volumes that I would need for the market. But one of the things that I had to do early on was to test really whether that problem was just my own or whether other people, empathized. And so I started with my market research in a sense. So as I didn't have, the big budget of the corporate world that I had come from for market research, I decided that I would do my own market research. So I asked mums at the school gates if they would taste my products. I asked neighbours, I asked friends, I asked family just to, taste my products, give me their real honest opinion about them. And that was then, from that, I was able to then go forward and say to myself, okay, look, this is the feedback. And the feedback essentially was, look, we like the taste of the bar, but they look awful. We wouldn't actually eat that, or we wouldn't, pick it off a shelf because it doesn't look right. So I thought, okay, I've got a great product here, but I need to make it friendly enough, appetizing enough for people to want to pick it off a shelf. And so that informed my next steps, which was to get my products designed in a way that the consumers would want to see them. And then from that, having the product redesigned, looking fresh, looking lovely, I was then able to go around and take it to the various supermarkets and places that I was trying to get into to say, look, this is my product. People do want it. There is a need out there, and I'm your person to fulfill that need.
Wow, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I think a lot of mums, especially when they go into business, kind of have this fear of going big, and actually they want to start at small and maybe kind of make something from a kitchen table and then maybe take it to a market or a craft fair or something like that, and kind of do it really small. But you took the plunge to really kind of go big, go from manufacturing, approach supermarkets. What informed that decision for you?
Well, for me, I had worked in the food industry for some time. So I had felt that I could do just as well for myself as I was for other people in the industry. So I guess a degree of confidence came from that. But I'm also a believer in, it's great to be able to, I don't know if you've heard of that concept of scalability or make money while you sleep, in a sense, because I felt that if I had a product which I sold from maybe market stalls and things like that, I would always have to be there to sell that product. But I felt if I could get it into the supermarkets, then, some of them are open 24 hours a day. I don't actually have to be there to physically sell my bars to each customer. So for me, I was looking at it from that position of making money while you sleep, in a sense. Okay, you have to do a lot of hard work up front, but I just wanted that scalable aspect where I didn't have to be there to sell each one, as it were.
And I guess as a mum as well, that's really important that, because it's not like you can just devote yourself entirely to your business, because you're still looking after your family, you've still got kids to look after. How old were your kids when you started your business?
I would say they were probably about 6 and 8.
Okay.
I've got a daughter. She's she's now 8, and my son is now 10. But when I started, I think she was 6 and he was 8.
Wow. So what was that like for you, as a working mum, as a mum in business?
It was quite tough, because you have to juggle, parent meetings, school life. And also I was a school governor as well, which I always wanted to give something back to the community. So for me, school is very key, and my children are my world. So it was tough, but I had the help of the breakfast club and after school club at school, which meant that I could, travel overseas to, source products and things, which also meant that if I had to work late, I could, because that wraparound care was there. And my husband, he's been absolutely amazing as well. So he's always, pitched in where I've needed that kind of help. So
so having a plan in place, having a supportive husband, and I guess it's making decisions, isn't it? There must have been times where you were traveling, and maybe if one child was ill, I found personally sometimes that can really feel make you feel quite guilty. It can make you feel quite and you can get stuck in that place of just feeling like I can't do anything. And yet there's always a choice, isn't there, of kind of choosing, okay, what's the best way of making the most of this situation at the moment?
I think you're quite right. It can be tough where you've got, competing priorities. But for me, I've, tried to be there as much as I can for my children. As I say, they're my world. And where I've not been able to be there, I've had the support of family. My mum lives locally, which is, I'm quite thankful for that. So mum and dad have been able to pitch in as well now and again. So, and I'd say in terms of my business journey, I've involved my children from the start, even when they were young, and I was working out which kind of brand, the look and feel, I would say to them, what do you think of this? And, what do you think of that? And they would say, oh, mummy, that looks nice and bright. And I said, would you put that in your lunchbox? Oh, yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so they've always been involved in the journey. Even when my products started to go on the major supermarket shelves, my kids would be so excited to get in there. Oh, mummy, there's your products. And, if I was traveling abroad, I would say to them, mummy's going to try this, or today mummy's got to go and talk to Tesco. And, and they'll be like, oh, good luck, mum. So,
wow.
They kind of knew that everything that I was doing, I involved them in that, and they were kind of rooting for me in a sense, which was wonderful. So every win that I had was their win. We could kind of celebrate, or have ice cream together if something good happened in the business. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and I bet actually that that gives them such a great role model, doesn't it? It shows them kind of these are the things that are possible, and these are the kind of things that you can go for. And if they see you doing that, you're leading by example, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So where are you now with your business?
Well, I sold my business about a year ago, and that was then the impetus for me to write my book, because having achieved what I did within my business, a lot of people wanted to know, well, how did you do it? And as I spoke at conferences, to try to help other business owners, people would say to me, well, how did you get into the supermarkets? How did you nail down your idea? How did you do your market research? So I kept kind of getting asked this, similar questions. And I thought, well, why don't I put all of those answers in a book so that I could help more people? So not just the ones that I met at conferences, other people could then pick up my book and maybe, have some ideas coming from that for their own position and their own businesses.
Oh, wow. So just backtracking a little bit, what informed your decision to sell your business?
I would say that an offer came along at an opportune time. It's not something that I was thinking that, I'm going to, start this business and sell it in X years and do that. But it just so happened that I got a phone call out of the blue that I had hit the radar of an international company. And that kind of got me thinking about selling the business. And so it started from there, really. But it wasn't something that I had predetermined to do, if you know what I mean. But it just came, and I just thought, well, that would give me some time with my children, some time to pursue, some hobbies, some things that I wanted to do, like the writing, for example. So I just thought it was a gift, really, that I could, grab with both hands, an opportunity that came at the right time.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think, often, most of us don't start a business thinking, oh yeah, I'll sell it in so many years' time. Yeah, some people do that, but a lot of us kind of, in order to put our heart and soul into something, we kind of, just really, I think somebody talked about having a commitment strategy rather than having an exit strategy. and yet, what you're saying there is actually there are seasons, that change, and opportunities come up that we may not have planned for, and sometimes those enable us to maybe take a different route and to pursue a different thing for a different season in life.
Yeah, I would definitely say that there are, seasons and opportune times, and I like to think that I'm one of those people that does grab an opportunity when it does come my way. So, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so with your book, you're telling people how you did, what you did, and how they can start their business as well. Is it specific to kind of the food industry, or is it more broad and in general to different industries and different businesses?
Well, I would say that it was broader than that. What I do in the book is I talk about some general themes that you can apply to absolutely anything. So whether that's shoes or clothes or cupcakes or maybe a service, or you can look at the book and you can think, okay, yeah, I can do that in my business. For example, in my book, I talk a lot about how to do your PR, for example, because there's no point having the most best wonderful product in the world if nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
So I talk about, how you can get your profile up in the media so that people will want your products and to create that demand, and also how that will then help you to get new customers, because you'll have this track record of getting out there, being in the media, all sorts of things. So the things I talk about in my book you can apply to absolutely any business.
Wow. Okay, that's really useful, and I'm getting the sense that it's a really practical book. It's for people who are just starting out and kind of going, okay, I've got an idea. Now, what do I do?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a copy in front of me, and basically throughout the book, you will see lots of different examples. So in the boxes, there are things that you can work through. So if you think, okay, she said that in that chapter, but how do I apply it? Well, there's an exercise at the end of each chapter that you can work through and make it really work for your own business and for your own ideas. So it's packed full of top tips as well.
Brilliant, fantastic. Yeah, that is so useful because so many people have ideas and kind of go, well, what do I do with it now? How do I progress with that? How do I do this? And for a lot of us, especially if we're running a business and raising a family at the same time, we haven't got time to kind of go do a business degree or learn all that information in that kind of traditional sense. So having those kind of really practical tips to hand is really useful. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what now. So you've grown your business, you've sold your business, you've got your book. What's on the radar for you now?
Well, at the moment, I'm working on some follow-up books, and I'm also doing a lot of speaking at events. So if you're interested in me speaking at your event, I'm really open to that, which I'm really, really enjoying. Again, sharing knowledge and, just helping other entrepreneurs. So I'm doing more writing, doing speaking, and I've got a few other ideas up my sleeve. So watch this space.
I look forward to it. Okay, so where can people get hold of your book?
It's available on Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk, as well as BarnesandNoble.com. So available online. You can order a copy today and you'll get it tomorrow. I mean, Amazon are that good. They can, ship it overnight and everything. So it's quite easy to get hold of.
Brilliant. Okay, and just to wrap up, maybe one lesson or one tip that you've learnt through your journey that you'd like to share with our readers and our listeners today?
Okay, well, I would say persistence really pays off. Whatever stage you are of your business, whether that's at the idea stage or perhaps you've already begun your business journey, whatever you're trying to achieve through that, do persist with it. If you're, whatever you're worried about, there's always help out there, so do network with others, do ask, your peers, how did you get over this hurdle, because there are ways and means to do things. So be persistent, keep knocking on those doors. They will open, and, use all your resources around you and the knowledge of other people as well.
Fantastic. Brilliant. So there's always a way, and be persistent.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for your time, Lotwina, and best of luck with the book.
Oh, thank you. And thank you all for listening.
Thanks.